All right, welcome back. We are moving on to the allies of James Bond. These are the folks that maybe helped him along the way. Um, you'll see some characters in here who are listed multiple times because they were in several movies with different actors. So we will talk about each one because they are different enough to me where like you got to differentiate. And then there's others where you might see them like on another list somewhere if they're a Bond girl or something. I don't know that we have any of those here, but maybe we do. So we will start, and I'm doing this just by name, so that we keep the like Felixes together and the M's together and all that. Otherwise, we'd be getting lost all over the place with the movies. But we'll just start in alphabetical order, I think, by like their first name. And I hopefully have notes on which one they come from because if I don't, I will forget some of these for sure. Um, in terms of the ratings, I think I said in the last Bond video, I'm just going to keep it standard here. Um, if it's if they're kind of forgettable, I think I'm going to have them maybe C tier, and then if they're like bad, I'm going to have them D tier. So I'll say that as I go along, but just to check myself as we get going, because I'm going to have to recalibrate some of these as we go. I will probably throw them in a spot and then re-rank them at the end. Um, okay, we are going to start. This is Ali Karim Bey. So Ali was in From Russia with Love, and he was a good character. I remember when he came on screen, he has a good like disposition about him, and he feels like a good connection with Bond. I didn't feel like he was out of place. I didn't feel like he was trying to overstep. He was just a good like support character for sure. And early in the series, that was super helpful to kind of get affiliated with what that feels like to have like a good Bond ally that isn't you know super necessary all the time, but that is a nice little side support cast. So I liked Ali. I will have him to start just in the B category. We'll see. He could move up, but we've got a lot of others to go through here, so I don't want to overstate them early. Okay, we get to a recurring character. This recurring character is a recurring character that I totally didn't realize was a recurring character too much because I just like it's like okay, who's this old white guy in the corner? I don't know what he's doing. He kind of supports M every now and then, or does something. Now I think I'm not sure on the order here. Let me kind of check who some of these are. I've got it in my notes here. So like I think the man with the golden gun might be the first one, and that is actually Michael Goodliff's his name. So this is the first one. So it waits to get to the Roger Moore era before this guy shows up. So it's not like a standard character throughout the whole story, and then they just have this little recurrence of him every few movies or so. So looks like this was Man with the Golden Gun. We have For Your Eyes Only. We have Goldeneye, I think, later, and then the Daniel Craig movies for the most part. So Bill Tanner is forgettable, like I said, for a lot of these. So I'm going to have the first three as here. Now, I think the Goldeneye one I remember a little bit more, but I struggle to kind of remember where he had value. And that said, like you've got Judi Dench and other folks who demand attention, that maybe that's why. But then we get to Bill Tanner. This is the one from I don't think he's in Casino Royale, but he's in Quantum of Solace, and then all the way up through No Time to Die. This one I liked. I felt like he was a good support character. He had something to do. He had value. He wasn't just standing around. He was like a good assistant. He cared about Bond. Wanted to do the right thing. Wasn't just like being an a-hole to him. So I'm going to give him an A. I liked him. All right. Then we go to Carter from The Spy Who Loved Me. So this is like let me get it wrong, admiral, captain, you name it, within the Navy. I thought this guy was really effective. carried part of his scenes, had back and forth with Bond. They had to negotiate on doing some things like what's the right thing to do. And he didn't just, bend over, and he also didn't just push back. There was like legit dialogue on things. And he was a helpful resource. I thought whoever the actor was good. And felt like, a good support for Bond as he goes to the end, because like sometimes in like those bigger ending movies, you have to have this big group, the Marines or whatever, that comes and helps him, because you can't take down every base by yourself. And this is one of those situations where he felt like he actually had some good support. So I liked him. I'm going to have him up in the A category as well. All right. This is Charles Robinson. Pretty generic name. I don't remember them even saying his name. Maybe that's why. But he was in some of the Pierce Brosnan movies. So I think he was in Tomorrow Never Dies up through Die Another Day. I don't think he was in Goldeneye, if I recall. But I just remember being in those films and like having some sort of a presence. But I don't remember him like doing a whole lot. That said, this may not be fair to him, because if I went back and watched the movies, there's probably some scenes where he's like shooting and hitting people or in the background doing something. And I was like, oh, I wasn't paying attention to him because Pierce Brosnan's doing something, or, other characters are on the screen. But I do remember him being like present, aware, on top of things, and not like a complete bumbling idiot or not an a-hole again. So like, I thought he was fine. I'm going to have him in the B category. Okay, we get to View to a Kill. This is Chuck Lee. Chuck, he had to like run into him at his little restaurant. He had to take some time off to go in the back room and kind of share some stuff in View to a Kill. So that was Roger Moore's last one, I think. So he's older in that one, but gave him some information on what Max Zorn, I think was his name, and helped him out. But I liked him. I thought he was fine. I'll have him in the B category as well. I remember him. All right. You Only Live Twice. Dicko Henderson, called him Dicko, I guess. I may have missed something on this guy. I felt like he was just in it for a little bit and then out, and I can't remember honestly if he got killed or not. I probably should. But I was more worried that he was like a turncoat. And I hope I didn't miss it, because like sometimes I forget those things after I haven't seen these movies in a while. But I think he was just trying to help Bond acclimate to Japan. That's what I remember. It's like this dude had lived there for 13 years or whatever, 20 years. He's got his kimono. So he was just like trying to help him understand the culture and all that stuff, which is cool. Like a big fan of the Japanese culture, watched, Godzilla movies and everything. So that was fun in that movie, to have a character like that from America kind of helping him. But yeah, he was a fine character. I don't know that he did a whole lot other than just kind of be that bridge, but I thought he was fine. All right, now we get into a key character who is very recognizable from the Bond series. This is Felix. So Felix is prominent in the books. He's a CIA agent. He's kind of the American, to be there for Bond and try to get the Americans to help him out and do whatever, or go to Bond and say, hey, here's the Americans' interest in this. Try not to blow this thing up, or try to make sure you secure this. Which I think it's kind of a fun character to have. So you have another, agency that you can really like play off of, good or bad, of what's going on. So many different actors though have played Felix, and this is probably, of all of them, this is probably the biggest variance for me in the different actors. And plus, it's tough because the screen time for some of these is like probably pretty short, and they're just a little bit of the role to kind of tease out that, hey, Felix is here, so hey, FYI. So some of these I'm like basing off of one scene, I think, or maybe two scenes in my head. So we will start though with Dr. No. This is Jack Lord, who is in the original Dr. No. And he is one of the characters I remember. Like he's one of those that I was like, oh, I know that guy. Like he's the CIA agent. And I will say, going into this round of watching the Bond movies, I did not know who Felix was. The only Felix I really kind of knew was from the Daniel Craig movies, Jeffrey Wright, who we'll get to. just because I remembered him in the movies. Like, and it's like, hey, yeah, Felix. And then I didn't even tick and tie that that's the same guy. So now I know these are all the Felixes. But Jack Lord, I thought was good. I thought he was fine in that movie. So I'll give him an A. I thought he was helpful and kind of cool looking. Then we get to Goldfinger. And Goldfinger, let's see, this is Cess Linder is his name. I just jotted it down because there's so many of these guys. I liked this one too. I thought this, just his presence, again, short but fine. Like, he was good. So I'm going to have him in the A category as well. Like, for example, with both of those two, if they were in the movie more, I would have enjoyed it. Like, I wasn't going to sit there and be like, oh gosh, more of him. So those two I got there. Then we get to Thunderball. So Thunderball, I saw him. He had like his sunglasses on, or he kind of pulled up and looked all cool. He's got his like almost Miami Vice looking jacket on. But I didn't really like identify with him too much in this movie. Now, that said, I don't know if it's like, again, he appeared at a time in the movie where other stuff was going on, or I just like wasn't paying attention as much as I should have to what he was doing. But I thought he was okay. It wasn't like bad. He was just there. So I'm going to have him in the B category. If he, again, was in the movie more, I'd been like, okay, whatever. All right, then we get to Diamonds Are Forever. And Rick Van Nutter was the last guy, but this guy's Norman Burton. Norman Burton, I thought, was kind of cool. I liked him. He's like in his little outfit, his little disguise at the airport, I think. But I liked him. I'll have him in the A category as well. Pretty small part from what I recall. I don't know that he did more than that. I'm trying to remember. Because sometimes Felix will be like the guy, that coordinates some other stuff, but not this time. All right. So this one's kind of funny. David Hedison. David Hedison was in Live and Let Die. But he was also in License to Kill. Much later, right? Like, that's what, the 8th movie in the 17th or something like that. And so he's Felix in both. And like, I remember watching Live and Let Die. I was like, oh, I like this Felix. Didn't think anything of it. I was like, he'll change again. Who knows? And then watched License to Kill. And I was like, man, I really like this Felix. This guy's good. And then I realized, oh, it's the same one. But, older. But Felix later gets his leg bitten off by a shark or something. So, that's not good. But I like this one. I like that one for sure. All right, then we get the non-canon Never Say Never Again, outside of the Eon Productions, when Sean Connery came back. And we have Bernie Casey. Now, I think I read a quote from Sean Connery around this of like, nobody ever remembers Felix, but they'll remember a black Felix, like, because this guy was a good actor. And I remember Bernie Casey being in some other things. I can't remember if he was like on a specific show. I don't know if like in the Heat of the Night or something, but something, growing up, I remember seeing him in syndication and stuff. And I liked him. I thought he was pretty good. Just as a different take on Felix. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. That's cool. So I like Felix's, for the most part, as just nice little side support characters. It kind of gives you a comfort pillow that Bond has some support. Until this guy. So this is The Living Daylights. This is, Timothy Dalton's first excursion into License to Kill. I had never seen it. The Living Daylights. I had never seen it. And as the movie was going on, I was just like, man, I like this movie. And then we get to Felix, and I'm like, what street corner did they pull this actor off of that is like completely taking me out of the movie? Like, I don't know if it's his acting. I don't know if it was his wardrobe, whatever it was. I'm like, Timothy Dalton, great actor, walking in, talking to me. It might as well have been me playing that role. Like, I don't know what it was. So fortunately, he didn't have a ton to do. If he did, I would have probably dinged the movie more. But I'm going to have him down in my D category. So for all the other Felixes, that was the miss. The good news is they corrected it with the next one, right? He did not come back for License to Kill, and they brought back the old good strong one that we mentioned with David Hedison earlier. All right, then we get to Jeffrey Wright. So Jeffrey Wright's a good actor. Like, he's been in some other stuff I've seen. I like him. I think he's pretty suave, pretty good in most things that he's in. Casino Royale is where I remember him more than anything. I think he was in one or two of the, or no, he was in all the way up to No Time to Die. I remember that now, and ended up dying, and that was kind of one of the tragic deaths for Daniel Craig's Bond to have to deal with. But Casino Royale is where I kind of remember more than anything. He's the one who, when Bond went out, and I am not a poker player. I did not and I'm sure it's not even the standard rules of poker, but they, the whole buy back in thing, and I'm like, why can you buy back in? What the hell is that? You lost. Get out of here. So I still struggle with that movie. I'm like, I guess you can agree to that rule, but you lost. Go away. No second chances. But anyway, he buys him back in. The American government buys him back in because they believe he can beat Le Chiffre, and he does. So that said, he does more than that. He has good rapport with Bond. He's carries some scenes, with his acting and stuff. So I really like Jeffrey Wright. I'll have him in the A tier to start as well. We'll see who I move up to the S tier, but I'll probably start him in the A tier and go from there. Got to think about him a little bit more before I commit to that. All right. This is General Gogol. So he is in several movies, and I don't know specifically which ones. I think he started, Spy Who Loved Me is the one I remember him in more than anything, but all the way up to I think it's License to Kill again. I think he was in Timothy Dalton movies. And this was a surprising character for me because at first I was like, oh, Russian guy, who cares? Just whatever. But then he is a great counterpoint, right? He is the smart, sensible kind of person over on the Russian side that they work with on things. And it's the give and take of, what needs to happen. And I like him a lot. So I'm going to have him in the A category. I got way too many A's. But they do go well with these support characters, I think, often. That said, there's going to be some down there that aren't as good. All right. Interesting one here. This is General Pushkin. So this is from Living Daylights. He's, famous for other movies for sure. And I think Indiana Jones maybe is the one I'm thinking of the most. But I didn't know that he was Russian. He didn't strike me as being a Russian general. That said, he was good in the movie. And he's kind of a villain in a way because you think he's doing something to mess with Bond, but he needs kind of the same thing Bond needs. And so then they figure it out and they coordinate and do a bunch of stuff together, which I thought was cool. So it's kind of taking you and, taking a villain and making them an ally in a way, at least in your expectations. And so I liked him too. I'll, for the sake of just differentiating a little bit, have him as a B, but he might move. All right, this is an interesting one. So View to a Kill. Godfrey. View to a Kill, they go to a horse ranch, huge horse ranch. I shouldn't say a ranch. I mean, it's a giant mansion with horses in it. And I liked him as a little side partner to Roger Moore wandering around. I thought he was funny. I thought he was capable. It's a campy movie in a lot of ways, but I liked him. I was glad when he was around Bond, and I'm going to have him up in the A category as well. And we might shift some of these, but we'll start there. All right, as we continue on, we got several more here. All right, this is Hip. I think it's Lieutenant Hip from Man with the Golden Gun. I recognize Lieutenant Hemp from being older in the movie Beverly Hills Ninja. But he was in this, and I thought he was fine. Like, I thought he was a good little side character as well. I don't know that he had a ton to do. Like, I kind of wish he had a little bit more to do in the movie. It's a weird movie in a way. So, like, I think he had to, like, I don't know if it was kidnap him or get the police to arrest him so they could take him into this boat. That's kind of what I remember. Maybe that's why that looks like he's standing at an angle. But yeah, so he was good too. I liked him. I'll have him as B category. All right. So we now have Jack Wade. So Jack Wade is played by Joe Don Baker in the in Goldeneye and The World Is Not Enough. I might get that right. I think maybe it's just Goldeneye, but I think he showed up in one more movie, at least. But he was a villain as well. He was in the Dalton movies as a villain. So it's kind of surprising to see them bring back the same actor, but in a supporting role. I think this was to play a bit of the Felix role. You know, they just, and I don't, maybe this is a character that's in the books that plays a different role, but I could see it being like a Felix role. And so he is kind of the, American, laid back, but CIA, and jokes around with Bond. Bond's all stuffy, and this guy's like, "Hey, dude, what's going on?" Which is a nice little juxtaposition. He's, coordinates things for CIA, but he was fine. I liked him too. If he's on screen, it's kind of fun. So I'll have him in the ace. J.W. Pepper. All right, J.W. Pepper is in Live and Let Die, and then The Man with the Golden Gun. So in Live and Let Die, they're in Louisiana. You just run into the bumbling sheriff from the small town in Louisiana and thinks he owns the world because he's the sheriff in this part of the world. It's a very jarring kind of comedy to be in a Bond film, like a little over the top, beyond it being over the top. He's constantly yelling and constantly like chewing tobacco or whatever he's doing. And then he figures out Bond is a secret agent, and then he's like all into him. It's like, oh, cool. This is cool. I'm part of this. So that alone was like tough. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to kind of forgive this and assume it's a Dukes of Hazzard mindset or something. I don't know. Right. Then I watched The Man with the Golden Gun. And there's a scene, I'm going to get wrong the country they're in. Everything's on location, so, it matters. But it's like, it was Bangkok, Thailand, something like that. Maybe Singapore, Hong Kong, forgetting. But I think it was Thailand. They show him. Bond happens to go past him, and he's in like this tourist boat. And I was like, oh, I didn't really need an homage to him from the prior movie, but hey, whatever. Maybe he was on set and they're just like, oh, that's, funny. He ran into the guy who happens to be on vacation. Nope. We're going to make him be a part of the movie for the next 30 minutes or whatever the heck it was, 20 minutes. Chasing around. Oh, I found Bond. And yeah, you're that secret agent. I mean, just in the movie, right? And it was, again, a part where I'm like, gosh, you're taking me out of the movie. So as much as I'm sure Clifton James, the actor, is funny in other regards, he, again, is D tier. Like, I'd be shocked if there's a lot of Bond film fans that like him. All right. Kamran Shah is what I have from Living Daylights. So I think this was the dude that Timothy Dalton Bond saved from the prison in Afghanistan. People forget, like, the U.S. were allies with Afghanistan in the 80s as the Russians were trying to like go into Afghanistan. It's the same thing as Rambo 3. So, a lot of the people we hear as being evil today back then were kind of our allies in some regards. And so that's why there's a lot of this like, oh, we're trying to help them, be free from the Russians in that movie. And I thought this guy was really good. I thought he was a fun, supportive addition. Like, I didn't expect it to be much. Like, when the guy broke out of prison and then he ends up being part of the tribe, the group that was, helping him. Super reasonable and like helped work some of the politics within his space. And, they were doing things to try to keep themselves going that weren't necessarily the most kosher things either. But he, Bond understood each other and kind of helped to try to defeat the common enemy. So I liked him too. I'll have him up in the A category. Kincaid and Skyfall. I like Kincaid. I liked the character. I liked. It felt good when he was on screen. Like, he's the stodgy old guy that's been around enough where he's good. He's fine. He's still gonna fight. He still cares, but he's kind of on his last leg in some regards. But he survives, from what I recall. So like Kincaid is the I think it was the Skyfall's like land keeper or something, where he's just around every now and then, and I don't know that he like lives there all the time. I didn't quite pick that up. But he knew Bond when he was a kid. Now you can have all the quips around like his backstory and all the movies, the late Craig movies. But at least as a character, I thought he was fine, and I enjoyed him in the movie. I'll have him in the B category. And then Wang, is this Wang from License to Kill? Yeah, so also known as Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat, which this movie had 2 characters from Mortal Kombat in it, or before they were in Mortal Kombat. But he is a secret agent from China, I think, infiltrating the same operation that Bond is looking into, and you kind of don't know it, but he starts to ask questions. He's supposed to be an investor. He's got another either agent or his girl or something there that they just kind of know things aren't good, and then they end up getting killed. But I thought he was a good character. I liked that he was, undercover too, and you didn't really know it, and then you kind of did, and then you did. And so I thought he was a fun character to have as a side character as well. I'll have him as an A. Okay, we are moving on to the M's, literally. These are the M's of MI6. So there are several. First one is Bernard Lee. He is from Dr. No up to Moonraker, is what I think is listed here. So long running tenure. Now that said, a lot of these M's, and it's similar to the thing I said earlier about the other role, they kind of blended together for me. They didn't really stand out. I know that there was a dynamic with Bond. Like, if I went back and watched it, I'd be like, oh, okay, I get a little bit more of the play back and forth of like, stay within the lines and do your job. And, I still care about you, but blah, blah, blah. All the things that M, can do. Some of them are a little bit more, friendly with Bond than others, I guess. But of all the ones, I don't remember him as much. It could just be the ones that I watched earlier, right? And I just kind of forgot about him being there. That said, I think he was fine. I'll have him in the B. The second one we have here is from like Octopussy up through the Dalton ones through License to Kill, I think. And I remember him a little bit more, but similarly, it was just kind of like, okay, it's M. Felt like a carryover from the last one. And again, maybe if I watched it, I'd be like, oh no, this one's like, I felt like this one was a little nicer than the first one. Could be wrong. Then we have the non-canon one again. So this is Never Say Never Again. And this guy was an a-hole from what I recall. So Edward Fox, he was just kind of a mean M. And I didn't really like it because he just seemed stuffy and stupid, like mean, not intelligent and questioning things mean. So I'm going to have him down as a C. Then we will get to Judi Dench. from GoldenEye and up through Skyfall, where that M meets her end. Whether it had to happen or not, that's another question. But M is an S to me. Judi Dench killed this role, in my opinion. It was really good that she started when Brosnan did. I thought their dynamic together was great. I thought they, that play back and forth of his like kind of cocky but kind mindset and her just like gruff, kind of mean things. Now there's some movies where she's just frankly a bitch, but she's still good. So I'm going to have her go ahead and put her in the S tier because I know she'll be up there. M is replaced by Ralph Fiennes. And this was an interesting dynamic because when this started to happen, I wasn't sure if Ralph Fiennes was going to end up being a good guy. He kind of was like, I was like, ooh, wait, maybe he's subverting things and he's Spectre, blah, blah. You get all suspicious of things. But he was good. He ended up being good. And you're like, oh, now he's just the new M. And I thought he was good as M. And he, was in Spectre, No Time to Die, those movies at the end. And I think you needed somebody his gravity in the role. And I think he was good to replace Judi Dench. And I'll have him up as an A as well. All right. Then we get to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Yeah. Draco. So that's the father of Tracy Bond, who like paid Bond or wanted Bond to go date his daughter, and then they fall in love. So that's one way to do it, to try to get her roped in because he could not like connect with her or get her, whatever. But he's also a criminal, I think, and which is fine. I thought he was. I'll say he's a B. I mean, it was kind of a neat character. He's not like the best guy in the world or whatever, but he's working with Bond to get something done. And I thought the actor was good. Like it was a nice character to have, so he's fine. All right, for Your Eyes Only, Milos Colombo. I feel like I should remember this guy more than I do. Like that's my problem. I remember him. I remember him being a part of the mission, like breaking in and doing stuff, but like his acting and his lines and stuff, I just don't recall as much. So unfortunately, I'm going to have him like down as a B. I felt like I liked his character, but I didn't. It just doesn't register as being like a super important thing. All right, we'll get to the money pennies now. Several money pennies. This is the original, Lois Maxwell. So Lois was money penny from Dr. No up through, I don't even know, but looks like the 15th movie. What's the 15th? But did she just end it with more? Was that what it was? View to a Kill? Maybe the case. So I think it was. So Lois is great, right? Like Moneypenny's an awesome character. All the early movies where you have James walking into the office throwing his hat, which I never remembered until I watched him this time, but throwing his hat on the hat rack, and you'll still see the hat rack in other movies, which is great. Always flirting with Moneypenny, the secretary, and she always flirts back. And then there's always some interruption with him, and she just had an awesome dynamic with Sean Connery and Roger Moore. Obviously, she, credit to the actress, she just ages as they do over, as Roger Moore and Sean Connery do over the series. But she's still great the whole way through. So always loved her. I'm going to have Moneypenny up as Nest here, the original. Then we get some other Moneypennies. So this is probably Never Say Never. Yeah, Pamela Salem. I don't really remember her. I'm going to have her down in the C category again. So the movie just is outside of the standard, and she doesn't stand out to me in that movie. We get to the License to Kill, Living Daylights version. This is Caroline Bliss is the actress. Again, forgettable. I don't think she had much to do in it. I don't remember him going and seeing Moneypenny a lot. I remember like one time where she walked up and introduced herself, and she's like, "Oh, she's here." but I don't feel like there was the back and forth that you get with the other ones. Then you had the Moneypenny from Brosnan era. I think she was in all of them from Goldeneye up through Die Another Day. Um, yeah, she was. I was trying to remember her role, like in some of them, but yeah, she was much more memorable. Moneypenny. I thought she had a good rapport with James as well. So she's not my favorite, but she'll be up in the A category. I thought she was a strong Moneypenny. And then we have the version from the Daniel Craig movies, and I think she just debuted in Skyfall. So wasn't in the first couple, and then she was in Skyfall as the person who was in the field and shot James Bond off a train, which should have killed him. Like, dude's up on top of a train, on top of a bridge, falls in the water after getting shot. I don't know how he survived. What I also didn't understand with this scene, and folks who are secret agents can correct me, if your job is to kill the other guy and you just shot James Bond, still try to shoot the other guy, right? Worry about that in a second. Like, take another shot and take as many as you need, because what are you going to use the bullets elsewhere? Like, the dude still, I saw him going away, into the tunnel. So I was like, all right. But anyway, so she's trying to become an agent. She ultimately decides just to work at the desk in the office. She was fine. She was fine. She had a good rapport with Daniel Craig, and it was okay. I'll have her as a B. Wasn't my favorite, but wasn't terrible. So we kind of have a Moneypenny almost in every category there. No D's. There's no terrible Moneypenny. This was a shocker. I did not know that Rowan Atkinson was in a James Bond movie, but he was. So Never Say Never Again. Again, I'd not seen it from what I thought, and so there he was. Mr. Bean is what he's frequently known as when I was growing up. But he's kind of a quirky, weird character. I didn't really like it. As much as I wanted to like it, I didn't. So I'm just going to have him down in the D category. I was like, this is taking me out of the movie more than not. Now, that said, had I seen the movie before knowing who he is and what he's kind of known for, I might have just been like, oh, this is kind of a comic relief guy and whatever. But something about it, just I didn't really like it sitting in the movie. All right, then we have Nomi from No Time to Die. Nomi is the new 007. So James Bond had been gone for 5 years, 6 years, something like that, and they get a new 007. There's always a back and forth between her and Daniel Craig about oh, I'm the 007 now, you're not, or I'm the one that gets to walk in the office and you're not, and you got in trouble and I'm not. Is okay. I mean, it's I get it. I wouldn't have done it with this. I don't think that the script or the dynamic was great. I think they could have done more with it. I understand it's we want a woman Bond, black woman Bond, whatever. And you can do those things. I just didn't think they executed it well. And it's this was just a kind of average, meh effort at it. I don't think I hated it, but even though it's not forgettable, I'm just going to kind of put it in the C category. I think they could have done a lot better with that. Paloma. So Ana de Armas, I think, is the actress. She's in Blade Runner, from what I remember, 2049. Probably some other things, but very beautiful. Was very attractive in No Time to Die. Kind of the young agent from Cuba or something, wherever they were, to try to infiltrate the base. And my only complaint was she was hardly in the movie. I'm oh, a Bond girl. And, yes, he had his, Madeline Swan, but now we've got her, and let's just at least do the Bond thing here. You don't even have to sleep together or anything. Just go do stuff together for a while. Be involved in each other's world for a little bit. And it was just they went to that party and then that was it. And she's out of the movie. And I was like, what a waste. Why would you have wasted her like that? I liked her as a character. I did. I'll have her as a B. I think she's just underused. I would have put her in the Bond girl, which I don't even know if I have her in there, the Bond girl tier list, but I don't think they really did enough. I mean, you could consider her one, but it's like they didn't really do enough for her to be that. She was kind of more just a support function. Okay. I'm getting toward the end here. This is the last of the multiple actors. This is Q. Q, very critical character, always gives the gadgets, has that, rapport with Bond where, it's like I'm kind of snarky and, you think you're great and blah, blah, blah. Don't mess my stuff up. Q always a little bit of comedic relief in there, which is good. So the first one we got is Peter Burton from Dr. No. I mean, it didn't stick. He was just in it once. He's very forgettable. I forgot he was even in the movie. Like I forgot Q was in the movie. For sure. Then we get to, actually, this is out of order here. Well, I mean, this guy's later. So this is, From Russia with Love is when we knew we started all the way up through The World Is Not Enough. So I knew this Q, Desmond Llewellyn, was in it up through the Brosnan ones, but retired during the Brosnan ones. And so, Desmond here was really good actor, was, obviously younger in his earlier versions and then old in the last ones. And he just went down as he retired. He just, Bond's like, how much longer you got? And he just left and that was it. It's like, I guess that's one way to do it. I don't know if it was perfect, but this Q is an S tier. Always good to see him in movies. I will say, and I'll mention this probably when I talk about the movies, a surprising movie I thought he was really fun in was I think it was License to Kill, with Timothy Dalton, where he's actually in the field with him, kind of, up in the hotel room and stuff. I liked that dynamic, and it was cool to see. All right, the Q that I skipped here was the Never Say Never Again one. So Alec, McCowan. I remember him vaguely in the movie because he did have the glasses and the scarf and was kind of showing some things in his little shop. I thought he was fine. I was like, oh, it's a cool version of Q. It wasn't trying to just be the other Q. It's fine. Then we get replacement Q within the standard series. This is who replaced the Q of long standing. And it's played by a famous actor, John Cleese. So John Cleese of Monty Python and other things. But John Cleese was a good replacement. He really was. They did a good job of having enough dynamic to have a handoff, knowing, they needed to have a replacement, and I'm sure for health reasons and other things, that it's you gotta have somebody in, and we can't just let it not have any, memorability to it. So John Cleese, I thought, stepped in and did a good job. I'll have him as the A tier there. He was only in it for, a couple movies, World Is Not Enough and Die Another Day. All right, then we have New Q, where you get to Skyfall going forward, No Time to Die. Ben Whishaw is the actor's name. He's obviously a lot younger. The young Q has, kind of the confidence about him, if you will, that he can do no wrong and make sure everything's good. But he does do wrong. What was it? Skyfall, where I think it was Skyfall, where they had the computer virus, and it's dude, you just uploaded a virus. You didn't even think that could happen. That's kind of crazy. And then just the security grid they had and everything. I have no idea why it was so easy to hack. But, he's got his little gadgets. He makes his little quips. What do you think we, still have exploding pens and all these things? And it's okay, whatever. He was okay. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and just be an old stodgy guy, but it's he's not my old Q. He was okay. I think it was fine. I mean, it may not have made sense just to get another old Q or whatever, so it's fine that they tried something else. And it wasn't a distraction that made the movies terrible for me. I was okay, he's there. All right, getting toward the end here. So Quarrel is from the original, the Dr. No, that you kind of don't know what to think of this guy for a while, and then he becomes your ally. So like he's I think they have guns drawn on each other when they're at that little stand or whatever in the stand. And then it ends up he's, Felix or somebody steps in. It's like, oh, that's our guy. It's like, oh, okay. How's it going, man? It's like, good. Now, unfortunately, he gets killed by the mechanical dragon, which don't know that I would have been standing like right in front of it. I'm sure he could have got killed other ways, but that was kind of not good timing or placement by his standards. I thought he was fine. I'm going to have him down in the B category. We'll rank them here in a little bit and I'll move around. I kept this guy in here too because I thought it was funny. He didn't have a huge part to play, but it's from Live and Let Die. And this is Quirrell Jr. So it's the son of other Quirrell. And the girl in the movie thinks that this guy's the guy that's going to kill Bond, the turncoat or whatever. He's like, no, I know this guy. So now, how he knows him, who knows? Over time, it's like, oh, I feel bad your dad died, so I'm gonna give him stuff. I don't know, but it was just a nice little homage. There wasn't much to him, but I'll have him down in the B category. Okay, Rene Mathis. This guy is pretty important in the Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace movies. He gets killed, but James Bond suspects him. First, he's his ally, helping him with the whole poker tournament and things, and then thinks he gave him away, thinks he's the one who said his tell, the tell of Le Chiffre, what he could, when he was bluffing. Turns out it wasn't the case, but is what it is. And so he ends up getting arrested, ends up getting let go, gets a villa, has a wife or a girlfriend who actually is like, oh, get over it. Look what you have now. So kudos to that person, but then ends up getting killed later on. And it, Bond feels bad, and it's kind of one of those people he's closer to. I liked him, though. I liked the character. I thought he was kind of suave, and the actor was good. So to Giancarlo Giannini, did a good job. This was a funny one I just left in here, too, of The Living Daylights. This is Rosica Miklos. So she's working at a plant, and she has to distract a dude to be able to stop the pipes so they can use the pressure to get this guy out over the border. Kind of a neat little scene, but she takes her top off, or at least unzips her top to distract the guy, and then as soon as it's done, she just leaves. It's like, what are you doing? And I thought the actress was good just in that little role. I thought it was kind of funny. So I'll have her as a B as well. All right. Saunders from The Living Daylights. So this is a dude that is a CIA agent, I think, or maybe another British agent who gets blown up. He's kind of arguing back and forth with Bond on some things, but they have a good rapport. Ends up walking out of a restaurant or something after they had agreed on, we're kind of on the same page, and then all of a sudden blows up. So not good for Mr. Saunders. But yeah, he was, I thought he was a good character. I liked him. I'm going to have him as an A. All right, we have Sharky from License to Kill. I think this guy was a little out of place. He just did not seem like an agent or somebody that was really going to be of much use to Bond. He ends up dying. Has a cool name, but didn't really do it for me either. So I don't really remember a whole lot about him otherwise. So I'm going to have him as a C. This is Sir Frederick Gray. He's in a lot of movies. This character, and again, this stodgy old white guy kind of problem of oh, it's M and it's this other guy. I'm they're all in a room together, and I can't really figure out everybody's motives right now, but you do pick it up over time, and it's oh, now I get the dynamic. You're MI6, you're the government, you're the guy over here arguing, whatever. So he was fine, and I thought he was good. I liked his charm. Once I figured out who he was all the way from The Spy Who Loved Me through the Dalton movies. So I liked him. I'm going to have him up in the A category. All right, another little funny guy. This is Smithers, who's the assistant of Q, and he does this, this is the exploding cast or something. So he's just in the background getting blown up or doing whatever he's did, from what I recall. But he's in a couple movies. He's in For Your Eyes Only and Octopussy. And so he's just a funny little side character that I included in here. I'll have him as a B. Getting to the end here, we have Tiger Tanaka. Tiger is a critical player in You Only Live Twice. He's the one who takes James to the spa, and very, very weird dynamic, but I think it's, who knows if it's just the script, but it's also probably a little bit of like the culture and things where he's just like super friendly with Bond and like, oh, you pick whatever woman, get whatever you want. And then he just starts screaming at the women. Like, next sentence, like, go over there, do this. And I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's hardcore. But he is also one of the guys, You Only Live Twice, trying to help him with Japan and navigating in that foreign country. So Tiger was good. I like Tiger. I'm going to have him up in the A category. All right, Valentin Zukovsky from GoldenEye and The World Is Not Enough. So in GoldenEye, he is the ex-Russian KGB agent that Bond had shot in the knee. Still has knee pain, and shoots Bond like between his legs, I think, at some point. Has the girlfriend or the mistress that is the singer and sings awful in his club and tells her to go away. But he also becomes a big help in The World Is Not Enough. He does end up dying, but he's a good character. He's really like somebody I remember and recognize from those movies. I'm going to start him in the A tier. Yeah, I'm going to start him in the A tier. And then we get down to VJ. So VJ is from Octopussy. Like most of what I remember about VJ is driving around in the streets of India and the carts. I can't remember what they're called, but the carts and the busy streets and everything. And he's got a good rapport about him and a good fun mindset. So I liked him. Fun little scene in the chase scene there. So I'll have him as a B. Maybe toward the higher top. We'll see. And then we have from Casino Royale. This is Villiers. Just vaguely remember him, but not much. So I'm going to have him as a C. So that gets us to where we can rank these. I'm not going to remember, honestly, all their names as we go through them, but I'll try and move them around as fit. We'll start from the bottom. So to me, Pepper's probably last. Rowan Atkinson. Yeah, he stays down there. So I'm going to move the ones I remember more up here a little bit. So I'll move her up. I like that. Moneypenny was okay. I remember him, but I didn't like him that much. And then, okay, those are fine. All right, we got to separate some of these because some of these are definitely I like more than others. Moving him up. Moving VJ up. All right, this Q Smithers can be at the bottom. He doesn't really do much. Coral Jr. can be down there too, though he's kind of nice. I'll have him over that Q. I'll have this Q down there too. I wasn't a big fan. I mean, he's obviously more important than some of these other characters, but it's like, what do you... I like this guy, Kincaid or whatever his name was. I'm going to move him up a little bit, but not as much as the Russian general. Can move these guys down a little bit. This Felix is a little bit better than them, but I'm going to move Coral up. I like Coral more. Moneypenny's better than some of these. BJ. Oh, I like him more. I'm going to put him up higher as well. And I like Coral more than that guy. Hit a little bit down. I liked her. Palermo, whatever her name was. Paloma. Okay, kind of forgettable. Oh, I like, okay, this guy over him. Okay, not bad. Let's go to the A's. All right. Valentin's moving up. He's going toward the top. I like him a lot. This Q is pretty good. Oh, this M is good. I like him. Jeffrey Wright's good. I'm gonna have him right there. I like this general. I have him like right above the Carters there. Okay, this is my favorite Felix, aside from Jeffrey Wright, and I'm gonna have him here. Tiger, I'll move up a little bit over here. I like Felix. Goldeneye Felix is a little bit better, I think. Oh, I liked him. Renee Mathis would go up here. I'll probably have up here. I like. Yeah, that's probably fair. Tiger, I'll move up a bit. I like Tiger. Move him up by Mathis. This Money Penny. Maybe about there. These guys are kind of similar to me. I like both of them. Okay, that's pretty good. And then let's go to the S tier. We had Q, Money Penny, and I mean, they're all great. They're kind of the best of their breed here. I'll have Q second, but I'll have Judi Dench as the number one. I think to me, she's the most memorable. I know she had a long stay within the role as well. But in terms of being like a memorable side character in Bond movies, she's the one to me. So, all right, that will cover our allies list, and then we have several others to still go, but we've got the actors and allies down. I think we'll do Bond girls next.